Good morning, everyone, and welcome to this 10th anniversary of the SESAR Innovation Days. I'm very happy to welcome you on board. We have about 1,000 participants who are registered today, which is a pretty impressive number. We will have 4 days of a very interesting program ahead of us. As I mentioned, this is the 10th anniversary of the SEEDS, and I think we can be all together quite proud of what has been achieved during those 10 years in terms of growing the community, in terms of as well exploring new areas of technology, of procedures, of human factors, and so on. All the community has been very active, as you know, over those 10 years to contribute to these activities. With exploratory research, the possibilities are really endless. While the program of this 10th edition has been structured to talk us through many different types of activities and to remind us that innovation, technology, science as well is at the core of what we're trying to achieve through the SESAR program. For the first time as well ever this year, the SEEDS will incorporate a global panel on the high airspace operation. It has been organized jointly with ICAO and ATCA, and it shows as well that today, when we think about aviation, when we think about air traffic management, we don't have just the traditional players, but we have as well a number of newcomers that are knocking at the door of our skies, whether it is for high airspace operation or at low altitude with drones, urban air mobility, and so on. It is very important that we acknowledge that and that we put in place activities to make sure that we can accommodate those new requirements into our airspace. It's very sad and unfortunate that we cannot meet physically on this occasion, but as you know, this crisis is preventing us from doing so. I wish I had been with you in a conference room, but we would not have accommodated so many people as we have today, probably. This pandemic is really an unprecedented crisis for the entire aviation ecosystem. I don't know any stakeholder, any company in the value chain that is not deeply affected by what is going on. But we know as well that more than ever, we need to build up a system out of this crisis that is more scalable, that is more resilient, and probably most important of all, that is more environmentally sustainable. I think this is what is at the core of the SESAR mission. It is as well at the core of what we're going to present to you this week throughout these innovation days. And we know that together, we know that with all the science, the technology, and as well all the will of the different players, we can build back better for a future aviation system that will be out of this crisis, hopefully in a very short time frame. What can we do to help in doing so? I think one of the key elements that I like to highlight is really the spirit of the SEEDS. It's to bring the community all together. Of course, the scientific community, the ones very active in our exploratory research domain, the ones who are working in the universities, in research laboratories, all the PhDs we have on board of the exploratory research activities and so on, but as well all the rest of the air traffic management community, the ones operating the systems, the ones delivering, industrializing the different components of the ATM system. That's really the spirit of the SEEDS, that we bring all this community together, that you learn from one another. And this is how we've been successful in the past in bringing innovation, science into the pipeline of innovation and delivery that we have in SESAR, up to the delivery of some of the SESAR solution that would not have been possible without the engagement of the scientific community, of the exploratory research project at an early stage of their development. So I think this is really where we have as well our strengths in working together through this aviation community, through this ATM communities that we've built along the years. And this is what we need even more than ever in the future to build back the aviation system. And hopefully, I really hope this will be very soon. I look really forward to hearing a fruitful discussion over those 4 days. I'll be present every day to introduce some keynote speakers that will give the tone of the day on those different sessions. And I will be as well here for the closeout and the wrap-up of the SEEDS at the end of the week. I said it's the 10th anniversary of the SEEDS, and before handing over to Andrew, I'd like to share with you some souvenirs of those 10 years, and we have a short video to share this morning. Thank you. So, so many good memories, so many familiar faces. It reminds us as well that the SEEDS is, of course, a scientific event, but it's about as well networking, meeting people, exchanging, discussing, and I think this is as well what we are going to try to achieve despite the situation all through this week with the coffee breaks, with the networking events that will allow us to exchange collectively and to discuss. Without proceeding, I'd like to hand over to Andrew Cook, who's been extremely instrumental in setting up the SEEDS all those years, and in particular in terms of how the Engage project that is leading has supported those events, has supported the entire community of exploratory research. Over to you, Andrew.
Good morning, everybody, and it's very nice to be able to share with you some insights and some views on the SESAR Knowledge Transfer Network Engage. Thank you very much indeed to Florian for the introduction. Can you see my slides? I'm still seeing my title slide.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Excellent. Thank you. My apologies. So good morning. Thank you very much to Florian, and very pleased to be able to have this opportunity to share these ideas and some insights with you this morning. The presentation is split, in fact, into two parts. Part one, today looking back at some achievements from 2020, and part two is giving you some insights into how you might get involved in 2021. I'm going to be talking a little bit about mapping, ATM research concepts, past and future, particularly on Thursday, and hopefully to share with you some insights into the aspirations of our legacy that we might hope to leave in terms of education and training, our catalyst funding, and a little bit on the Knowledge Hub. So these are the 8 consortium members who look after Engage, led by the University of Westminster. All the information today and on the slides is on the website, and I would warmly invite you to take a look if you haven't had an opportunity to do so already, engagektn.com. In addition to the 8 consortium members, we have about 60 industry partners of part of the network who are supporting our activities in exchange for early research collaboration. If you're interested in joining up as an industry partner, our doors are still open, and there's information on how to do so and some of the benefits on the website. The Engage partners, the industry partners, have helped us with the evaluation of a number of activities in Engage, and indeed are members of the programme committee for the SIDS, both this event, this edition of the SIDS and previous editions. And we're very grateful for their participation and very much welcome their engagement in the KTN. The core activities of the KTN, we started in 2018 and we run through to 2021, so we've got just over a year left to run. Some of the core activities here are launching and initiating a one-stop European knowledge hub, our concepts roadmap, and a research repository. And I'll be telling you particularly about those during the second slot on Thursday. We're contributing to a series of SESAR Innovation Days, 4 of those. This one is the 3rd of the 4 in which Engage has some particular support role. Not disruptive, already building on the excellent provenance of the SIDS established over many years. And one thing we have tried to do is to engender a little bit of greater industry involvement through industry partners and wider invitation from industry to become involved in the SIDS. And I hope we've managed to achieve a little bit of success in that direction. On the left there, you'll see that Engage is underpinned by a series of thematic challenges, which I'll tell you a little bit more about in a moment. And these thematic challenges underpinning much of the activities of the KTN are also the theme of a series of workshops. We're running 3 European summer schools, the second of which was a virtual event held in September this year. And we're supporting 10 interdisciplinary PhDs and 18 Catalyst Fund projects. And these are little bursts of activity to help move the state of the art on particular research projects through the innovation pipeline. Again, as you can see at the bottom there, part of our core remit, trying to integrate industrial research and exploratory research. And last but not least, a major activity is the future, supporting the future ATM skilled workforce and student mobility. And you can see there are a number of activities which are coordinating, which are integrated with the SESAR Digital Academy. 35% of the 4 million euros of funding the KTN across the 4 years is used by the consortium. So just only a third of it. All the rest of the money is going back out to the research community in terms of funds and grants, supporting the activities, the PhDs and the Catalyst Fund projects. Just a third of the budget being actually consumed by the consortium. These are the thematic challenges chosen by you, the research community, in the first few months of the KTN. The first one, CNS vulnerability and security. The second, data-driven trajectory prediction. The third, efficient use of data. And our fourth thematic challenge is novel use of market mechanisms in ATM. These, you can see the responsibles for each of these activities across the KTN, Paula, Dirk, Tanya, and myself. The last activity we had for thematic challenge 1 was our workshop, our virtual workshop recently held by Enaxis, coordinated by Enaxis. Roughly this time last year, we had our activities for thematic challenges 2 and 3. These were co-located at the SIDS and just before that hosted by SJU in Brussels. The original idea was that we would be doing the same thing this year, but we've decided to move these a little bit later into January when there's a little bit more space in the calendar for everybody. And I'll tell you a little bit more about those in a moment. Our last activity in thematic challenge 4 was a workshop hosted by Nomon in July. And we'll be running the next one of those to be confirmed in May of next year. All of these thematic challenges have associated documentation and information packs which are posted on the Engage website, explaining what the challenge is about, and we regularly update these and refresh them to give the latest insights into where these challenges are going at the end of each of the workshop series. So all of those documentation and the presentations are all available for download from the Engage website. So the next 2 workshops coming up are on thematic challenges 2 and 3, as I just said. The data-driven trajectory prediction workshop in January will be presenting an exciting range of diverse data science techniques, including machine learning and advanced data processing. And our thematic challenge 3 workshop, efficient use of metadata, will be looking at ways in which we can streamline the innovation pipeline in terms of pushing metadata and the use of that to higher TRLs and utility. Both of those are in January. More information on those on Thursday, but the programs are on the Engage website and registration is open for both of these workshops already. To give you a little insight into Catalyst funding, these are the remit here is to promote cooperation between industry and academia on focused short burst projects to help move the state of the art towards industry goals and objectives, higher TRLs, moving the state of the art for these research themes further through the innovation pipeline. Again, as I keep stressing, part of the key remit of Engage here is trying to integrate better industrial research and exploratory research. So these are light touch projects run for 12 months. They have 60K of funding allocated to them. That's the maximum amount that we're allowed to distribute according to the cascade rules from Horizon 2020. So these light touch projects with few deliverables are supported by 1 or 2 mentors on each of these projects from Engage, who support and evaluate the deliverables from these projects. I think there's a general consensus that these have been some successful outcomes from these projects. They're affording very high value for money, and we've been able to find a little bit of extra budget inside the consortium to actually extend the total number up to 18 projects. The last call closed in April of this year, and now all those projects in Wave 2 are up and running. To give you two little examples, one is the cargo project you can see there on the bottom left, run by our friends in Università Padova in Italy. And these are looking at nowcasting severe weather with high spatial resolution, and doing that in coordination with Project 4, Total Airport Management. And on the right-hand side there, you can see the OPAS project, our friends in Belgium. And these are looking at using satellite SO2 spectra for analysing volcanic plumes. And these are integrating their work with the SWIM initiative at Eurocontrol. So just two examples from the 18 of those projects. Again, all these information are on the website if you would like to have a look, and of course presented at our workshops. We opened call 2 for the second wave of Catalyst funding in January of this year. And we had a predetermined deadline of the 3rd of July to get all of those projects evaluated, awarded, contracted, mentored and launched. So it was very, very tight timescale. And as you know, COVID occurred right near the start of this process. And I'd like to blow a little bit of a trumpet for all the people who were involved in getting that through and to actually start exactly on time. So I'd like to thank very much indeed all of the evaluators, including those from our industry partners who helped to push that evaluation through with such high quality and on time, and all the back office staff at Westminster, and for our wonderful partners on these projects, helping us to get all this contracting in place and launched. So as a result of this, we can now welcome new projects into the Engage family. You can see that we have 3 new projects in Thematic Challenge 1, Cyber, one from University of Jyväskylä in Finland, from NATS and Windsland, UK. We have 2 joining the family in Thematic Challenge 2 on data-driven trajectory prediction, one from SESAR in Italy, and one from an open call there on bottom left, flight-centric ATC with airstreams. This was actually an open proposal, but we thought that fitted in quite well, in fact, with Thematic Challenge 2. So we've put them in with our colleagues in Thematic Challenge 2. We have another 2 projects joining from Thematic Challenge 3 on use of metadata, one from NLR Netherlands and from our colleagues in France at France Aviation Civil Service. And then we have 1 new project joining in Thematic Challenge 4 from Think Research in UK. I'll tell you a little bit more about that on Thursday, looking at the role of markets in the deployment of the airspace architecture study. So a really exciting project there in Thematic Challenge 4. If we take a look at the overall picture across these thematic challenges and indeed the open calls, you can see quite a nice distribution of activities across all of these thematic challenges, with a little bit of clustering on the slightly more mature themes of trajectory prediction and use of metadata, with 9 and 8 projects respectively in each of those. So we have our 10 PhDs, 10 projects in Wave 1 of the Catalyst Fund, and 8 in Wave 2. So just before some of our Catalyst Fund projects in Wave 1 started to close, we were running 28 projects and activities in parallel through Engage. All the abstracts for these projects and our wonderful PhDs are all available on the Engage website, where indeed we also host opportunities for PhD applications as well for other hosting institutions. So I would invite you, if you have time, to take a look at the Engage website and read about those Catalyst Fund projects and the Engage supported PhDs. And just before I finish off, to give you a bit of an insight into what took place at the Engage Summer School this year, we were planning to be in Luxembourg at IANS, which was what we announced at the SIDS last year, and started our registration with all optimism In January 2020, unfortunately, like many other events, that was not to be a physical event. We eventually retimed and relocated and had a virtual event hosted by our wonderful colleagues at University of Belgrade. And part of the remit of this summer school was to engender a greater industry participation, since our PhD students, their PhDs were now more mature, so we wanted to have a greater participation from industry and to hear more in depth about some of the connections between the PhDs and potential collaboration with industry. The programme was designed collaboratively with our PhDs and Catalyst Fund projects. We are very pleased to welcome more than 80 participants from 18 countries, and there was no application declined for participation, as indeed was the case for the physical event in Belgrade in 2019. We had a really active programme full over those 5 days, including 2 days dedicated to hearing about our PhDs, and we were very happy to welcome 2 Eurocontrol PhDs into this family as well, a range of tutorials and industry presentations, and we even had a bit of a fun quiz at the end of one of the evenings. We were very happy and proud to host the launch of the Eurocontrol's new dashboard, the R&D data archive, that was officially launched at the Engage Summer School. And if you haven't already, I would invite you to take a little look at the link there and register for that data archive. That was part 1. In part 2, on Thursday, during the closing of the SIDS, I'll tell you a little bit more about some of the activities through 2021, plans for the summer school, some insights into what we're doing in collaboration with the SESAR Digital Academy. And we're very excited that on Thursday we'll be launching the Engage Wiki, which has been quite a time in preparation. And I'll give you a few slides on Thursday on how, letting you know what the content of that, how that will work, and how you can get involved. Meanwhile, I hope you enjoyed the SIDS. You'll see quite a few Engage-related outputs throughout the coming days. And a number of these activities with Engage have been undertaken in collaboration with our wonderful colleagues at SJU. And I'd like to thank again Florian for the nice introduction, very generous, and particularly name check Christine Stewart and Dirk Schaefer for the amazing work in putting together the programme. Christine from the SJU team, and Dirk in a man of many hats, and in this capacity working through support for Engage. So thank you particularly to these two, to Florian again for the very generous introduction, and to all of you for listening. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you.